and graphing quadratic inequalities. In order for us to be successful, we need to solve the inequalities. And remember, we solve them like equations. Then we need to plot the solutions on a number line, use my open and closed circles correctly, use my test point to shade, and then represent the solutions in inequality and interval notation. So let's get our notes out, go to the last part. We ended with solving by using the quadratic formula. Let's go on to our last example. And for this one, we're going to solve by square root. So when we solve by square root, you know, to solve by square root when there is only an x squared, no b term, or no term with an x. And on your assignment today, it'll tell you what to, like, how to solve it. Hi, Oliver. All right, so when we solve by square root, we want to identify what is being squared. And in this case, only the x is being squared. So we want to isolate that x squared. And then we have to change that inequality. We're going to change it to an equal sign. So we want to do the opposite of subtracting 2, which is adding 2. And we get x squared equals 49. And now that we have our x squared isolated, how can we get rid of that squared? Perfect, we want to do the square root. Remember on, awesome, thank you. And then on the right side, remember we want to put plus or minus the square root of that other number. So we get x is equal to plus or minus and the square root of 49, we get 7, which means we have a positive 7 as a solution and a negative 7 as my solution. All right, that takes care of our first step of our success criteria. Now we're going to plot it on the number line. So let's draw our number line. And we're going to go -7 and +7. Now, if we look at my inequality, does that inequality tell us we're going to have an open circle or a closed circle? It's closed, perfect. So we're going to have a closed circle at both the -7 and the +7. All right, and now for our test point. We're going to test 0, where x is 0, and x is 0 right here. So when we test the point of 0, that tells us if 0 is part of my solution set, and if it is, we shade towards the 0. If it's not, we shade away. So we're going to use our original equation, x squared minus 2 greater than or equal to 47. Substitute 0 for x. And we get -2 greater than or equal to 47. Is that statement true or is it false? Is -2 greater than or equal to 47? True or false? True. -2. Is -2 greater than 47 or is -2 less than 47? It's less than. So this statement is false. -2 is not greater than 47. So because it's false, that means that 0 is not part of solution set. So we shade away from 0. So what does that mean in my shading? Is that over here, because 0 is not part of my solution set, then we're going to shade away from the 0. And that's how we graph that inequality. Now we need to write it in interval notation and interval notation and inequality notation. So first we're going to do inequality notation. So we say x, so all of these numbers, are they less than -7 or greater than -7? So all these numbers on the left, they're going to be less than, right? And then because it's a solid point, we have that equal sign. And we do the same thing to this side, x and 7. All these numbers on the right side of 7 are greater than or equal to because of that solid point. Now, because it's not possible for a number to be less than -7 and greater than 7, we need to put the word or in between them, because either the number is less than -7 or the number is greater than 7. Okay, let's go ahead and do interval notation. And for interval notation, that's when we use the parentheses and the brackets. So because it's going to negative infinity, that arrow tells us it's going to negative infinity, we're going to start at negative infinity. We always use parentheses for infinity, comma, because this is my smallest value. And then my largest value is -7. And because it's equal or solid, because it's a solid circle or a closed circle, we want to use a bracket. And then the symbol for or is my upside down looking U. And then on the other side, the smallest value is 7, and it's including that 7. So this 7 belongs here. And then my largest one, because it's going forever in this direction, that means it goes forever in the positive infinity direction. And anytime you have infinity, you have a parentheses. Any questions so far? There are 3 things that you'll have to do in today's assignment. Don't open anything yet. I want you guys to look at my screen first. So we have this problem. We've already solved this problem. If you guys look back at your notes, it was the first problem that we did. X squared is greater than x plus 2. So we're going to graph it on the number line, just like we did on our example. So here we would put -1. And because we used an open circle, we want to place that open circle here. Then on the right side, we had a +2, and that one as well has that open circle. Question so far? Then as far as the shading was on the outside. So it looks like this. Does everybody understand? All right. So you have 3 additional problems to do. One is factoring. The other one is quadratic formula, and the other one is square root. Please let me know if you have any questions. And you have the rest of the period to complete this. On Friday, we will start with solving systems of quadratic linear functions.